Welcome, everyone. I'm Jordan Hegel with the ISU Alumni Association. Before we get started with today's presentation, I invite you all to put what city and state you're watching from in the chat box. We encourage you to use the chat box throughout today's entire presentation to ask your questions and leave comments. We'll get to as many as we can during our time together. Also, interacting today using the chat feature will enter you into a giveaway at the end of this presentation. We also want to recognize our ISU Alumni Association members who are watching today. Because of membership dues, we're able to offer programs like this one. If you aren't a member of the association already, we encourage you to consider joining so that you can support alumni, student programming, events, and receive benefits such as participating in events like this one for free. Right now, in honor of Jeff Johnson's 25th anniversary, we're offering limited time deals for both annual and life memberships through the entire month of September. So that's very exciting. Today, we are lucky enough to have JJ Moses with us. JJ is an author, speaker, and former NFL athlete. As an NFL athlete, he played for the Kansas City Chiefs, Green Bay Packers, Arizona Cardinals, and the Houston Texans. JJ's story was so inspirational that it was featured on Oprah's Life Class. It also solidified him as one of the most sought-after speakers in the business and sports arenas. For more than 20 years, JJ has been involved with the NFL, where he went from being a player to the front office of the Houston Texans, serving as their director of player development. In 2020, JJ was recognized by the NFL for having the #1 professional and personal development program in the entire league. JJ's new book titled Focus, The Prepare to Win Mindset was released on October 17th, 2023. And upon its debut, Focus was the #1 new release in the business and professional growth category on Amazon. JJ was awarded the first key ever to his hometown of Waterloo, Iowa, and JJ currently lives in Houston, Texas with his kids and his wife. Before we bring him on, we want to share with you a special video of JJ in honor of Cyhawk Week.
The give is around the near side to Moses, looking for running room. 45, midfield. He's to the sideline. He's at the 40, 25, 20, 15. J.J. Moses on the opening play takes the reverse the distance. Iowa had the angle. They came over with a great cutback by J.J. at about the 6-yard line. Takes it into the end zone. Iowa State draws first one.
Woo-hoo. Oh my goodness. Thank you so much, Jordan, for the awesome introduction. My fellow alumni, it is so honored. I'm so honored to have the opportunity to connect with all of you today. Thank you again for taking time out of your schedule. Again, my name is Jay Moses, and I'm a former Iowa State grad. And before I even get started with today's conversation, I just want to also recognize Iowa State Alumni Association for creating such a wonderful platform to bring all alumni together for a greater purpose. And once a cyclone, always a cyclone. And again, I'm always thrilled to have the opportunity to connect with Iowa State alumni. And as Jordan mentioned earlier, feel free to let us know in the chat where you've been from. We would love to recognize you guys. I'm quite sure you guys might be from all different areas of life or wherever you might be working or living at. And we definitely would love to kind of continue to recognize you. I see we have a few people from Houston. And again, but it's always great. We got Cincinnati in the house. Thank you so much. We got Memphis, Tennessee. So as you can tell, thank you again for being a part of today's conversation. Again, I'm JJ Moses, former NFL player, but started off my career playing at Iowa State University. But more than ever, you guys, being a part of Iowa State, the culture of Iowa State, there's a lot of similarities, and we can all fall underneath the umbrella that we've learned a lot of life lessons at Iowa State. If it's friendships, many job opportunities, we've learned a lot of life skills, alumni, that we can continue to translate to make the world a better place. So feel free to let us know also in the chat, where did you stay in during your time in Ames? Of course, there's so many areas where you stayed at, whether if you stayed in Richardson Court, in Residence Hall, home of Maple Willow Larch. That's actually, alumni, where I stayed at. It seemed like forever. I stayed there for at least 3 years. And was it Larch? It was Larch on the 8th floor. So we have anyone from Maple Willow Larch, let us know. Also, you might have stayed in Frawley Hall or Union Drive, the Towers, or whatever area you stayed in within Iowa State. But as I mentioned earlier, Iowa State has created such a lasting impact for all of us as alumni, and I will forever be grateful to be a part of Iowa State's culture and to see the lasting impact that Iowa State has had on me personally and also my family. And, speaking of my family, we bleed Cardinal and Gold. And over the years, I have a lot of my family members that attended Iowa State University, starting off with my father, who attended Iowa State back in the late 60s into the early 70s. And also my uncle attended Iowa State and played football there. And then we had a first cousin that played on the Iowa State basketball team in the mid 90s. And then in 1997 through 2000, I was blessed to have had the opportunity to play on the Cyclones football team. And then I had a brother, my youngest brother, who also played football at Iowa State right around the 2005 and 6 era. So as you can tell, Iowa State is not just a university, but it's a family. It's who we are. And that's why we'll forever be grateful for the program and just continuing to help shape me as I continue to transition, in this game of life. And we can all testify, alumni, that, life can be difficult, right? At times where you fall into life 101 in terms of you might be dealing with a setback in your career, or you're dealing with some setbacks in your relationship, or you're emotionally challenged, or you just lost focus along the way, or whatever the case might be. But focus, the prepare to win mindset, is what I want to talk to us about today. This mindset that I rediscovered once I got back to Iowa State University towards my junior and senior year really catapulted me, and it allowed me to remain focused, but it gave me instant accolades, opportunities, and also it provided an NFL contract for me. So what I want to do today is to share with you the focus, the prepare to win mindset, and how it has allowed me to continue to move forward, even in the midst of some of the most difficult challenges, or even in times where I face adversity. By having this focused, prepare to win mindset, it's what gave me the ability to continue to move through life. And as I mentioned earlier, life sometimes will throw us these curveballs. So it is my hopes, alumni, today that you will leave here feeling inspired, maybe committed, or focus more on your goal or your dream or your passion. Or maybe this message might be for a friend or one of your family members, but overall, it's to continue to provide you with resources and tools that will continue to help you grow, whether it's personally and professionally. And so you might ask the question today, JJ, what's focus to prepare to win mindset? What is that all about? Well, focus to prepare to win mindset, it's about approaching your life, your career, your relationship with an intentional focus, having faith, positivity, and even resiliency. And I believe when individuals, when they leverage this type of mindset, it is what allows people to continue to reach their highest potential. And so that is my overall goal, is to help you to continue to reach the opportunities that is in store for you. As I've continued to mold this and craft this, I had the opportunity to bring this focus, prepare to win mindset to my former Houston, Texas football team, in which I played in the NFL for. And within the first few years of implementing this program, the NFL ranked it the #1 personal and professional development team throughout the whole entire NFL. And upon that, I discovered that not only is this applicable to a person that's playing sports, but this is applicable to someone that's maybe in sales, or you're working in retail, or you're working with people or a community or a team. These skill sets and strategies can be applied to any and everyone. And it's ultimately about helping you to reach your highest potential. And so briefly, what I want to share with you today is the 6 steps to having a winning mindset. So the first step in strategy, what we'll talk about today, is visualizing your goals. Then we're going to talk about identifying your distractions, where at times, friends, we will all have distractions. Developing people skills, creating the powerful first impression, sustaining positive work culture, and preparing for your opportunities. So again, if you're tuned in for the first time, we're so grateful, but those are the 6 strategies that I really want to share with you that I feel will be inspiring for you. So starting off with our first strategy, visualizing your goals. I know that sounds so cliche because, during the school year, during the year, and we're getting closer to the holidays, or you're starting off the holidays, we all have these goals, right? To get back into the gym, or if you want to maybe move up in your career, we all have these goals, but I'm really big on writing your goals down. I had read a study from the Harvard Business School, and they conducted a goal writing study. And in that study, friends, they said that 3% of their students wrote goals down, and they put their goals in the place where they can actually see them, whether if their goals were on their wall, their goals were on their iPhone, or they wrote their goals and they could just see them every single day. 13% of their students had a goal but just didn't write them down. It was in their mind. That was something that they thought about over and over again. And then 84% of their students did not have a goal at all. 10 years later, they discovered that the 13% who had a goal, at least in their mind, they earned 2 times as much as the 84% who did not have a goal at all. But here's the kicker, friends. The 3% alumni who I mentioned earlier, who took time out to write their goals down and they put them in a place where they can actually see them, they earn 10 times as much as the entire group. Let that sink in. 10 times as much. Alumni, there is power as we continue to write your goals down. Statistics say that 80% of individuals do not write goals down. And sometimes we may wonder, man, why am I not seeing advancement in my career? Or why am I not able to get promoted or find my dream job? Can I encourage all of us today, as we're approaching a new year, we have 4 months remaining, is to be intentional about writing your goals down and also put them in a place where you can actually see them. When I was growing up in a small town in Iowa, I came out of Waterloo, Iowa, and at that time, my goals, I just wanted to play football and I wanted to be in the NFL. And it seemed impossible because coming from a small town in Iowa, there were not a lot of resources and I didn't have a blueprint of how to make it into the NFL. But what I did recall was the importance and the knowledge of being able to write my goals down. And so I began to, at a young age, write my goals down. Long story short, those goals turned into reality, in which I went on and I played for the Iowa State Cyclones, the Kansas City Chiefs, the Green Bay Packers, the Houston Texans, and the Arizona Cardinals. But I want to also maybe contribute it to the fact that I took time to write your goals down. And again, it's nothing mind-boggling, it's not breaking news, but there's power as we continue to finish out these next 4 months. So there might be someone here today and you are in a place and you're like, man, JJ, I'm ready to move forward in my career, or there's more left for me to do in life, or I want to maybe write a book, or I want to get into a certain field. Let me encourage all of us is to continue to write your goals down. And I believe that's what's going to bring you to places of opportunity. As I've transitioned out of the National Football League, I also had another goal. And that goal was to continue to help individuals to reach their highest potential. And that's when I wrote a career goal, that I wanted to become a director of player development for an organization in the NFL. I wanted to help create a winning culture. And so I remember back in 2008, as I was transitioning out of the NFL, I wrote that goal and I put it in a place where I can see it. 1 year went by, I didn't hear any calls. No one called me from the NFL to offer me a job. I continued to just work on my craft. I work on being able to create a curriculum that can help individuals to grow, whether they were an athlete or they were front office staff. The second year went by, the third year, 10 years goes by, friends. And randomly at an event, I end up meeting at that time the head coach, new general manager. And within the first few moments of conversating, they end up offering me a job as their director of player development. And not only did they offer me the job, but when I wrote down that goal back in 2008, I had a goal at exactly what I was hoping to accomplish if I got hired. And do you know, not a dime short or a dollar off, they offered me the exact same salary that I wrote down back in 2008. So I'm a living witness that whatever the goals you have in life, if you continue to write your goals down, that's what's going to propel you to win. And I love this quote. It says right here on the screen, but it says she won her mind before she won in front of the world. Your mind is so powerful. And I love this example, but a person's mind is a bit like a steering wheel. When we continue to direct it towards positive thoughts, our life will change because we're steering it in the right direction towards our goals. But it starts by getting our minds right. And so we have this positive mindset and we're tapped in mentally. That's when it enables us to continue to move forward. I encourage you this noon, or it might be morning time where you're tuned in from, but to continue to go into the remaining part of this year with a healthy mindset. And if you do that, friends, I guarantee you, you will accomplish many goals that you have in store. Our next strategy that I want to share with you today is, of course, identifying your distractions. But I want to kind of pause here before we go to the next slide. We all have distractions in life. I read a survey that mentioned 3 out of every 4 workers are distracted. And distractions can affect professionalism in the workplace, and it can also reduce professionalism and also affect productivity. And so when there is a system or a book or a program that helps individuals to remain focused, the stats are amazing. 75% of individuals say when they are focused, they are happier, they're motivated, but check this out, they feel purposeful. A person's focus is what eventually their true purpose. But there's times, like I mentioned earlier, where there will be distractions in life. And how are we able to avoid those distractions? Well, on my next slide, I want to share with you some of the top distractions that we have, whether if it's social media. How many times do we fall victim of being distracted off of social media? Or what about multitasking or noise, cell phones, meetings, mental comparisons, or if it's believing text messages, TV, I read a survey and it mentioned this, but the average American spend 4 hours and 37 minutes looking at their phones every day. And that quickly adds up over time to about 1 day every week, 6 days every month, 70 days every year. The point is, we can sometimes allow those distractions that can stop us from creating momentum. And so as you're looking at this list right now, and only you can be honest with yourself, because we're all Iowa State family, but what are those distractions that could be keeping you from reaching your highest potential? A few months ago, I was out having dinner with some friends of ours, and we were having a great time, and our waiter came in and served our dishes and had our dishes and told us that the food would be out shortly. And as we were talking around the table, we noticed that the waiter that was serving the other table, he accidentally dropped everyone's meal on the floor, and the whole entire restaurant looked over and immediately was so distracted. And I'm thinking to myself, my goodness, I hope he didn't drop any of our food. And so we were so focused on what was taking place that I did not realize that our waiter had came back over and put everyone's meal in front of them. And that gave me a life lesson right there, that sometimes that very thing that you've been waiting for, or maybe that opportunity, or maybe that connection, or that job promotion, or maybe just overall you want to have a healthy state of mind, that thing that you've been waiting for can be right in front of you. But those distractions, those multitasking, what people are saying, what people are doing can be the very thing that can stop us from reaching our potential. And so I want to encourage someone today that whatever distractions that you feel that might be in your way, if you continue to be intentional about staying focused on the main thing, and if it's staying focused within your work, staying focused within your family, everyone's focus is different. But as you continue to stay focused, that's what's going to give you the ability to move forward. Also, here's another statistic, and I thought this is really eye-opening, but procrastination, I mentioned earlier, can be also linked to a number of issues, including depression, anxiety, low self-esteem, ADHD, poor study habits, poor impulse control, stress, and physical illness. And here's, check this out, 80 to 95% of college students procrastinate, especially when it comes to coursework. Procrastination can be the very thing that can stop us from our distractions from moving forward. And so I want to encourage all of us today is to continue to find those ways to identify those distractions. And once we identify those things, that's what's going to continue to help us to move forward in life, which allows me to move to our next slide, which is having people skills. And you look at people skills and you might say, well, JJ, what is exactly people skills? Well, people skills is important in whatever facet of life you're in, whether you're working in sales or you're a stay-home parent or whatever the case might be, you interact with people on a day-to-day basis. And I love this example, but people skills are the ability to communicate and interact with others in an effective and friendly way. People skills can improve sales, build customer credibility, and boost productivity. So you might ask the question, people skills, why, JJ, is it important to have people skills? There's a one life lesson, and this is so true. A person can have the best product in the world, but ultimately people do business with people they like. And so your product might not always be the best, but if you have a great rapport, or if you have great people skills in whatever department, or if you're working in commercial or real estate, when you operate at the highest level with people skills, that's incredible. So studies say 85% of job success is due to having people skills, or in other words, soft skills. When we continue to craft our people skills, that's what gives us the ability to make great first impressions. And so in the next slide, what I want to show with you is how do we create people skills? I came up with a method that really helped me in terms of when I was working in the front office. And I mentioned, earlier about working with the Houston, Texas organization as their director of team development. And right when I began to work there, I developed this focus, prepare to win mindset. And you might say, well, JJ, what was the so-called secret recipe that allowed you to have a winning program throughout the whole entire NFL? And I remind you, when I began to work on that job, that program was ranked 16th out of 32 teams in the NFL. After 2 years, I was able to turn that program into the #1 personal development program and professional development program throughout the whole entire league. So here's my key that I want to share with you all today of how important it is to have people skills. And by having people skills, for me, that was the key that allowed me to unlock that opportunity and make that program into the #1 program. And I like to call it having knowledge, likability, and passion. In other words, having the KLP factor. When individuals operate by having the KLP factor, it's being knowledgeable, likable, and passionate. Within the first 30 seconds of meeting someone, A person knows whether or not they want to do business with you, if you're trustworthy, if you're confident, if you're likable, if you're competent, all those important characteristics. A person is right there deciding if they want to connect with you, if they want to work with you. Experts, when you're an expert in the field, that's being knowledgeable. When you are knowledgeable about your product, I love this example, but if you are in sales, it's important to know your product, right? If you are maybe working at a restaurant, it's important to know the menu. As an athlete, it was important for me to know the playbook, or if I didn't know the playbook, I definitely was not going to get any playing time. Or if you're a pilot, it's important to know the plane. If not, I'm not jumping on the plane with you. The point is, when you're knowledgeable, that's what gives you the ability to have confidence. And confidence is what ultimately allows us to continue to win, or in other words, to dominate in our field. And so today, in today's workplace, supervisors, bosses, CEOs, they're looking for individuals that are innovators, individuals that are creative, that can think of a solution instead of identifying the problem. And so what ways that you can continue to be knowledgeable about your product, knowledgeable about the field that you're trying to get into? Remember, when you have knowledge, knowledge is what gives you confidence, and confidence is what gives you the ability to win. The second trait of making a powerful first impression, which I believe is very important, and I talk about this, is being likable. How can you continue to be likable? You might say, well, JJ, what's being likable? What is that all about? And I love this. But number one is being present. How many times in a conversation you might have had with someone, but they were not present? Whether if it was, unfortunately, might be your husband or your wife, whatever the case might be, or a friend, or you're talking with a salesperson and you're trying to connect and to gain their trust, but they were not present. A lot of times when you are present, you're looking, engaging in the person, you're shaking your head, you're nodding with the person. That's showing them that you're present. I think that's an important part of being likable. Also, smiling, listening, all of those characteristics are very important. People also want to feel that you're listening and you're present. They don't really care about how much you know until they know that you care. So what are those areas in your life that you can continue to work on being likable? If it's greeting someone, if it's walking down the hallway and just saying hello or saying good morning, people skills are so important. And when you combine that by being likable, again, people do business with people that they like. And then last but not least is also being passionate. Passion sells, friends, and passion attracts. When you see passion on people, it's contagious. People want to gravitate. They want to be around individuals that bring the passion. A part of my job when I worked in the front office with the Houston Texans was I could tell right away whether or not if a player was passionate about their craft, about their job. It was demonstrated through their conversation. You could see it by the way that they walked or how they carried themselves, how they dressed. Passion sells and passion attracts. And so how do you know if you're in a job that you love or you're in a job that you truly enjoy? Your passion will speak for itself. People will be drawn to that. And when they see that you continue to have passion, that's what opens doors for you. A few years back, I was invited out to a local radio station and I was having a great time. I introduced myself to individuals on their staff. And at that time, I was just having the opportunity to go around, and I was doing speaking engagements and I was having a fun time. And the individual that invited me to the radio station introduced me to one of the producers at the station at the time. And within the first 30 seconds of connecting with the producer, she looked at me and she said, JJ, how would you like to become our reporter throughout the football season in which you could provide inspirational talks? Now, let me give you the geographics around this, but this inspirational radio station has millions of listeners throughout the week. And for me to break into that market, I did not even know who the producer was at that time. But what she did see is that I operated with this KLP factor where I was knowledgeable. I knew her name. I introduced myself. I remembered her name during our quick conversation. I looked her in the eyes and I smiled. I was friendly to the staff and I was passionate as I was continuing to talk with her. And she ended up offering me an opportunity to be a part of a local radio station, which has led to so many wonderful opportunities by having the KLP factor. And so if there's any bosses, any department heads or managers here today, if you're trying to determine how do I discover who to continue to promote, look for individuals that possess the KLP factor, and that's having knowledge, likability, and passion. As you continue to operate with those characteristics, that's, friends, right there will continue to give you momentum in making a great first impression. So I'm going into the next slide. And now we're talking about sustaining positive work culture. When I was with the NFL, of course, there's times where it's not always a positive work culture. You're dealing with wins and losses, and there's so much pressures to perform. There might be someone today and you're in a role and you just feel the pressure to perform, whether it's to meet the sales, you have a boss that's constantly on you, or, they're just always constantly just making you trying to perform at the highest level. And I'm all for pushing and all that. But sometimes when you're in an environment where it's that toxic environment, it can create more stress than it can positive. And here's some statistics about that I want to talk about. The American Psychological Association estimates, friends, that more than 500 billion, that's right, billion, is siphoned off of the US economy because of stress. 60 to 80% of accidents are because of stress. And then on the screen, I wrote here, more than 80% of doctors' visits are due to stress. And so it's important that we are intentional about how do we combat stress. And I would like to believe is when we find ways to continue to bring positivity into the workplace. And that's something that we really have to be intentional about. So my question is for all of you today, what if you're working in whatever field, how can you continue to bring positivity to those that are around you? By bringing positivity, I believe it energizes people and it helps individuals to continue to climb higher in their career. And that's called sustaining a positive work environment. And the next slide I want to share with you, which is our last and final slide of today. And I'm having a great time, and hopefully you guys are having a fun time. And this is probably one of the highlights that I have today in terms of encouraging all of our listeners today that are tuned into Zoom. The next slide is called being prepared for your opportunities. Growing up from a small town in Waterloo, of course, and playing football at Iowa State, I've always had a dream and a desire, to play in the National Football League. But, I'm only 5'6". And so many of the coaches and agents thought that I was too small to play in the NFL. And, I would read studies, and the studies would say 99% of all college athletes will not make it into the NFL. I think I had a better chance of being struck by lightning than actually playing in the NFL. But I continued to remind myself, and I followed this dream, and I just knew I just needed an opportunity. So one day, out of the blue, I got a call after my senior year playing wide receiver at Iowa State by our quarterback. And friends, he was getting so many tryouts from many NFL teams, in particular, the Kansas City Chiefs. And so he called me on a Wednesday morning, and after the season was over with, and he said, JJ, can you come to our practice facility on Saturday? I need somebody to catch some footballs for me. So I said, absolutely, whatever I can do to come, serve and help you out, count me there. I'm there on Saturday. So Saturday rolls around, you guys, and my quarterback, he's getting all these calls, and the Kansas City Chiefs, they're there to work him out and at the practice facility. And my quarterback during that workout, he's doing a phenomenal job. He's throwing the ball with accuracy. And I'm playing wide receiver at the time, and I'm trying my best to catch every single ball. But as the workouts continue to go on and on, I noticed that the head coach, he walked up behind me and he started taking down these notes, and he started saying these words to me. Good job, Moses. That's the way to catch the football. Good job, Moses. So I'm thinking to myself, man, that's the Kansas City Chiefs coach. Man, he just said my name. And so I was excited that a coach from the NFL, they just knew who I was. And so the workout's finished, Iowa State alumni, and I go to my chair and I'm relaxed and I was glad to have the opportunity to help my quarterback. As I was taking off my gloves and my cleats, the coach walks up to me. He reaches out, he shakes my hands, and he says these words to me: "Moses, today you have just made it into the NFL." I went into that workout, alumni, just to serve a friend, but God blessed me to walk out with an NFL contract. Since that workout in 2000, I have benefited and been involved with the NFL for over the last 24 years by being prepared for my opportunity. And so what I want to do in closing today is to share with you 2 keys that will allow you to be prepared for those opportunities that I believe that are in store for you for the next few months. The first key that I want to share with you on being prepared for your opportunities is that I will stand ready. We all know this quote, but you stay ready so you don't have to get ready. That means whatever you can do to stay ready. If you're believing, if you want a promotion, what are those things that you can do to stay ready? When you continue to stay ready, if you're, crafting your message or you're trying to lose weight, do whatever you can to keep yourself in position to be ready, whether if it's holistically aligned mentally, emotionally, physically, spiritually. When you combine those components, that's what helps you to stay ready. The second key that I feel that allowed this opportunity to come to pass was I went into that workout just to serve a friend. I love this example, but when we live our lives, so to speak, with an open hand, and we're serving the community, we're serving maybe within your relationship, you're serving in your department, you're serving a family member, whatever facet of life you're serving in, when you serve by giving away your time or really trying to help someone else out, those dreams and those opportunities can fall right into the palm of your hands. Why? Because you're living your life with an open hand. But then there's times, friends, where we go through life and this life 101 hits and you've been disappointed. You go through a setback. You've been hurt. Someone has done something and you're holding on to that resentment, or you might have dealt with a situation that's caused you now to maybe lose perspective of life. We all go through those things. And when that happens, that's when we tend to close our hands and we're not willing to give. We're not willing to share. We're not willing to help individuals to grow. And once we close our hand as an Iowa State alum, that's when it's difficult for those opportunities to continue to flow through our hands. And so I want to remind all of us today, at whatever career you're in, whatever city, whatever community, department, or space you are operating in today, as you continue to leverage relationships or you're trying to move forward, live your lives with an open hand. And when you do that, you are going to win in life. And when I think of wins, the world's perspective of wins is winning means, like, the world says, for an example, if you continue to get accolades, you're a winner. Or if you continue to get promoted, you're a winner. Or if you make a 6-figure salary, or you're a winner. Or if you score touchdowns, you are automatically a winner. But alumni, can I share something with you today? Is that I have a different perspective of what a winner is. A winner is making everyone else around them better. And that's exactly why I'm so grateful for the Iowa State Alumni Association, of how they continue to make everyone around them better. And the resources, the opportunities that I have learned and discovered by being involved at Iowa State University has allowed me to continue to move forward to make everyone else around me better. And so it is my hope today that as we are moving forward, to be reminded to live our lives with an open hand, to continue to visualize your goals. Be like that 3% who I mentioned earlier, who took time out to write their goals. When you write your goals down, that's what brings those opportunities your way. To identify those top distractions that you have. Remember, 3 out of every 4 workers are distracted. And distractions can affect professionalism in the workplace, and it can also reduce overall productivity. And so you want to be very careful about that. Also, developing people skills we talked about today. Why is it so important to have people skills? It allows you to have a powerful first impression, and that's by being knowledgeable, likable, and passionate. When you combine those elements in your life, that right there, Iowa State alum, allows you to have a great first impression. Sustaining a positive work culture. No one wants to be around Debbie Downers all day. You know, I love this, but birds of a feather flock together. There's two types of people in life. There's the firefighters, and then there's the firelighters. Firefighters are individuals that every time they're around you, there's drama, there's negativity, there's maybe toxic positivity, whatever the case. They're the ones that's telling you all the reasons why you cannot make it. But when you surround yourself with those fire lighters, those are individuals that encourage you, that motivate you, and they also hold you accountable. When you surround yourself with individuals like that, that's what enables you to continue to surround yourself with a positive work culture. Positive people is what helps you to continue to move forward. And then last but not least, we talked about today was being prepared for your opportunities. Iowa State alum, as you're closing out this school year, this year, I'm believing that opportunities will come to you. Opportunities out of the blue, because you're focused. You have this prepare to win mindset. Maybe it might be to get out of financial debt, or it might be an opportunity for you to maybe tap into a dream job or to advance in your career. But overall, my desire and goal for all of us today is to make our community even better. So I want to say thank you again to the Iowa State Alumni Association for this opportunity. Let's win against Iowa this week. I know there's a big game. I'm excited. Hopefully you guys can tune into that. But once a Cyclone, always a Cyclone. Go Cyclones. Look forward to hopefully connecting with you all soon. And also, if you guys would love a copy of my book, or just to, continue to, dive in, sometimes you might have questions, you can find more information at JJMoses84 on X or on Instagram. And then it's JJMoses32 on Instagram. And also there's a barcode, of course, QR code to purchase Focus, the Prepare to Win Mindset. And as I mentioned earlier, this book has been so amazing. It's been the #1 release on Amazon. Over the first few months, I had an opportunity to collaborate with so many of the Fortune 500 companies throughout the Houston area. In terms of Neiman Marcus, I did a book signing there. We sold out. I did a book signing at Nordstrom's department store, Barnes & Noble. I just did an event with BMW. So again, there's an emphasis, especially in today's society. We hear the word culture all the time, but there's a buzzword, and it's about this whole professional and personal development movement that's helping individuals to advance in their careers. So this book right here, these 21 practical steps, I believe will continue to encourage you as you move forward in life. And we got a surprise for you if you continue just to stay on Zoom call. So without further ado, I would like to bring back the one and only Jordan for the opportunity. Thank you so much, Jordan. I can't, you're on mute.
There we go. Thank you, JJ. That was so inspiring. I encourage you all to write any questions or comments that you have for JJ in the chat. I know one question that I have for you, JJ, is when looking back from where you are now, how did Iowa State help you get to where you are and help you develop this focused mindset that you've created?
It was actually the place where I really rediscovered this focused, prepare to win mindset was at Iowa State, my junior and senior year. Throughout the course of a, time when you're transitioning from high school to college, you're dealing with the change of scenery, changes of relationships, you're dealing with change. And at times, Jordan, change can be difficult. And so once I discovered this focused, prepare to win mindset at Iowa State, it immediately began to change my life in such a way that it began to put me on such a roller coaster in terms of opportunities. But I discovered it by being around the Iowa State alumni, being around Iowa State, and just surrounding myself with individuals that inspire me. From it was my counselor, or I had my advisor within my department, and And with my bachelor of liberal arts and social science, my major, I would sit and talk to my academic counselor, and she would continue to motivate me. But it was at Iowa State where I began to hone skills, and I developed these people skills and being intentional about connecting, whether it was a student or maybe volunteer my time within the community. And that's when I began to discover all of these traits and strategies, which eventually, Jordan, led me to different arenas as far as speaking with the Oprah Live class, having the #1 book on Amazon. Like, all of that contributed by my groundwork being laid at Iowa State University.
And that is just incredible. Thank you for sharing that. And also, what motivated you to put all of these insights into a book and kind of go on this new journey for yourself?
Yes, because I mean, I feel like, like when Life 101 hits, not every day I get it, you're going to always feel positive. Positive is sometimes it's your emotions. I mean, we're emotional human beings, and times where you feel discouraged, times where you question why did certain things happen in life, times where you've done everything you could, but the promotion came to someone else, times when you've done everything in terms of staying focused, but you did not see the results. And so for the first time, I had to really challenge myself as a person to say, I want to stay committed, meaning I want to continue to stay focused and be prepared to win and have this focused mindset. And that is what enabled me to continue to navigate life when life at times was difficult. Of course, there were times where I was released from my job, times when I was told I was too small, times when I lost my father, years back, and it was a difficult time for our family in terms of transitioning. My brother Milo, who's online today, we loved our parents, and when you lose a loved one so close, you can question your faith. God, why did that just happen? But again, by having this focus, prepare to win mindset, allowed me to not get stuck and to allow me to continue to move forward. And I was able to tap into the positive things that happened in my life, the positive moments that I had with my father. And it allowed me to continue to gain momentum as I continue to move through life.
Yeah, it seems like that pretty much answered Mike's question as well about what the biggest challenge for moving from just the idea of having a focused mindset to actually making it a book.
Yeah, and it was one of those things. It's one of those things, Mike, and that's a great question. Thank you for asking that. I've always had a desire to inspire others. I knew ultimately that football was what I did, Mike, but it wasn't who I was. It was just a platform to get me into this room today with all of you today, and that is to inspire people. I have more joy, Mike, and fulfillment to inspire others than I did playing football and scoring touchdowns. And again, that was fun. I knew it was a blessing, but ultimately there was a bigger purpose in my life. And I knew that playing in the NFL, that wasn't my so-called promised land where I can just get comfortable. And I knew I was going to be there for 20 million years, but I knew, and I was intentional about connecting with people, learning life lessons, getting a chance to meet other executives, management, and being able to watch how they operate and run a Fortune 500 companies. And I began to just formulate what I saw was important. And that's when I was able to create a program, a winning program within the NFL, which eventually led to a book.
Yeah, that was incredible. Thank you. JJ, are you ready to pick our lucky winner for our giveaway today? Do you want to explain what the giveaway is?
Thank you, Miss Jordan. Absolutely. So on behalf of Iowa State Alumni Association and the one and only Miss Jordan, we are so excited. Again, I mean, this is the least what we could do for you all today, but I would love to send over an actual signed copy of Focus, the Prepare to Win Mindset to an individual that is currently on Zoom today. And so we will definitely get all the information to you on how we're going to mail it out to you. But it would be an honor to also send you an actual Focus pen along with Focus book as you're continuing to be prepared to win in life.
Amazing. Thank you. So let's get right into it. Let's pick our winner.
All right. So how are we going to pick our winners today? Let's see. Here we go.
So
rolling.
it's just an automated system. Let's see who it is.
Let's go. Woo!
Amy. Congratulations, Amy. You're our lucky winner for today. We also want to thank you, JJ, once again for giving your time to us today with this incredible presentation. It was amazing. You were amazing. We also want to thank all of our alumni for joining us today, and we hope you have a great rest of your day.
Thank you so much. Go Cyclones.
Go Cyclones!